So Avengers Endgame is out in just over a month, and we are constantly getting told now that this is the end of the Marvel Universe up until this point. Kevin Feige keeps saying that this is the end of the original six Avengers and that everything in the MCU has been building up to this point. It's the end of this chapter. It's the end of Phase 3. We now know that the first 22 movies are called the Infinity Saga, which really makes it seem like from Spider-Man Far From Home onwards, the universe is going to be completely different. And also, in the synopsis for Avengers Endgame that was released yesterday, it says that this movie is the grand conclusion to the 22 Marvel movies up until this point. Um, so yeah, I honestly thought that while after Endgame things were going to be different, a lot of new stories, a lot of stuff like that, I didn't think it was going to be this much of an ending. It's kind of crazy that this really is a new phase or a new era of the MCU we're heading into. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about what comes after Endgame. And I'm not talking about just what movies come after Endgame. I mean, what is going to be the next big story arc? What is going to be the next Infinity War? Because considering that the first 22 movies are called the Infinity Saga, I think it's a pretty fair assessment to say that the next 20 movies or the next couple phases are also going to have a name, something like that, and that will differentiate it from the first three phases. But just a quick run off what movies we know are coming. So Spider-Man Far From Home is obviously coming out in July, early July, and that's going to be the first movie of Phase 4, the first movie of this new era of the MCU, and the first movie after Avengers Endgame. There's rumors that actually, I think they're confirmed by now. I think Feige confirmed them a long time back that Spider-Man Far From Home starts 5 minutes after the end of Avengers Endgame. So it's probably all this aftermath of Endgame and all that, and Spider-Man is like, "Wow, that's crazy! I'm gonna go on a field trip with my school," and then he runs off. Um, but that's the only movie we actually have a proper release date for. There are release dates for other Marvel movies, but we don't know what is exactly taking those release dates yet. Originally, the first movie after Spider-Man Far From Home was supposed to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But then there was that whole James Gunn debacle, and now Guardians of the Galaxy 3 has been pushed back until after Suicide Squad 2 is done. So Guardians was supposed to be May 2020, or late April 2020, and I think it's fair now that that movie probably won't come out until late 2021-ish or early 2022. I think early 2022 is likely because while the script is written, it's not going to start filming until after Suicide Squad 2 is completely finished, and Suicide Squad 2 doesn't start for a while, I don't think. So yeah, I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3, while coming, is not going to be till 2022-ish. On top of that, we have Black Widow, and Black Widow is probably going to be the first movie after Spider-Man Far From Home. So I think Black Widow will probably get an early 2020 release date, so it'll probably take Guardians' old spot. Hopefully Black Widow's done by then, because Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was supposed to be pretty much done filming by now, and Black Widow I don't think has officially started filming yet. I think they're still adding to the cast, and they're still hammering things out before they start filming, but that's going to be a prequel to Natasha Romanova and her character in the MCU, so maybe it'll be set in Budapest, that story we heard about in the Avengers one. Maybe not. It'll be interesting to see. Then we have the Eternals, which will probably be mid 2022 ish, or not 2022, sorry, probably mid 2020 ish. I think it's fair to say that that will be the next movie after Black Widow. It's even possible this could be the first movie of 2020 because this is definitely a movie that is also moving pretty fast. They start filming in August, and I think that this movie is going to be huge for the future of the MCU. It's going to be basically the cosmic stuff, all of like the Thanos level villains. They're going to kind of sprout from the Eternals, I like to say. And by Thanos level, I mean his species. Like the Eternals are like the opposite of Thanos' species and all stuff like that. And so it'll be pretty cool. So yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with them. And we also have Doctor Strange 2 and Black Panther 2, which we have no release dates for yet. We know that Doctor Strange 2 will start filming September, I believe. Scott Derrickson has been posting all over Twitter, but he's even been sorry. Wow, I can't speak today. He's even been teasing that Namor the Submariner is going to be in Doctor Strange 2, but he deleted the tweet pretty instantly after he posted it. So that'll be cool. But I think it's safe to say Doctor Strange 2 will get the end of 2020 release, probably late October, early November for 2020, because that was when the first movie came out. But on top of that, it's been 4 years since the first movie. That's one of the bigger gaps between movies in the MCU. Normally, there's a 2 to 3 year gap between a movie and its sequel. There's been 4 years between Doctor Strange 1 and Doctor Strange 2, so that's a pretty big gap. I think that's got to be coming soon. Then it's possible they're going to make Black Panther 2 come out that February, after Doctor Strange in February 2021, so that it'll be exactly 3 years after the first movie uh, came out, which would make perfect sense. You know, they might want to capitalize on that February release date, maybe keep that as a Black Panther kind of release date, which would be cool. Not much we know about that, just that uh, Michael B. Jordan said something about possibly coming back to play Killmonger, maybe in a flashback or something. Besides that, we know pretty much nothing. I don't even think we know when filming is starting. And they're the only movies we have officially confirmed. It's very likely that we're going to get Spider-Man 3, and Tom Holland said during the press interviews for Spider-Man Homecoming that that Marvel was planning a trilogy for the movies. So while he wasn't supposed to say that, I doubt things have changed. I think we're getting a Spider-Man 3, then we're going to get Captain Marvel 2 most likely at some point, and Avengers 5 at some point. Shang-Chi. I completely forgot about Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi is the one of the best martial artists in the Marvel Universe. I think he is the best. Try to remember here if Iron Fist is better than him or not. But he's like top tippity in martial arts. This is going to be a very unique movie. And that starts filming relatively soon as well. So I think Shang-Chi will probably come out in mid 2021 after Black Panther 2. And then maybe Spider-Man 3 that summer. We'll probably be seeing an Ant-Man the Wasp 3 and Avengers 5 and X-Men and Fantastic Four, all those movies. And we're probably going to be seeing a lot of new solo movies as well. But yeah, that's just what movies are coming next. What story arcs are we doing next? So the one people assume is the next big step for Marvel is Secret Invasion. And yes, that's probably the most likely. That's the one I want. Secret Invasion is so cool. If you don't know what Secret Invasion is, it's basically that the Skrulls have kind of invaded the have kind of invaded Marvel's Earth or Marvel's superheroes for a while. They've been replacing superheroes with themselves, and it was going on for a long, long time. And we got the first introduction of the Skrulls, in Captain Marvel. The only thing is that they weren't exactly the Skrulls you would assume would be doing Secret Invasion shit. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with them. Honestly, I was 100% guaranteed thought Secret Invasion was happening next big story arc. Captain Marvel actually made me think otherwise. Because the Skrulls in that movie were so nice and happy, and I know that Talos was just one part of the Skrulls. That he's probably he might be the only good Skrulls. Him and his family might just be the only good Skrulls out there. But I think it's weird that our first look at the Skrulls are as good people or as friendly people. I thought it would make sense to see evil Skrulls first, and then slowly move on to good Skrulls, maybe kind of differentiate it. But that's what everyone seems to think is the big next thing. I want it to be the big next thing. Just Captain Marvel has kind of made me go, maybe this isn't the direction they're going in. It's also possible we'll get something to do with the Skrull. How do I keep messing up words? The Skrull-Kree War, which was a big arc in the Avengers and Captain Marvel and all that sort of stuff, where Kree and the Skrull are at war. Thing is, though, again, a reason why this might not be like this is because Captain Marvel made it kind of clear that the war is over between the Kree and the Skrull, and that the Skrull are pretty much beaten. They're scattered throughout the galaxy, so I couldn't see them going into a full war, because it just wouldn't be realistic to have these guys who are so battered, and there's not many of them left, be able to go to war with the Kree. But I thought I'd include that there. Another interesting one is that we could get Kang the Conqueror as the next big villain. Kang the Conqueror is a time traveler, and he's one of the cooler Avengers villains. He's also part of Fantastic Four mythos generally, so now that we have Fantastic Four, it's likely that they're looking for threats like Fantastic Four or X-Men to bridge the next era of the MCU. I think Kang the Conqueror would be a really cool take. He's so different than Thanos and then the Infinity stuff and all that. So that's interesting as well that we could see. Speaking of reveals, we could see Annihilus, which a lot of people have been speculating Annihilus is in Endgame. Highly doubt that. One, because he's a Fantastic Four character, and we're not going to see Fantastic Four characters until at least 2021. Not in any of the movies. Maybe little Easter eggs in the 2020 movies, but I don't think we'll actually see them until the movies come out in 2021. Annihilus is a character from the Negative Zone, and once the Fantastic Four opened up the breach to the Negative Zone, Annihilus escaped into our universe and started, not our universe, into the Marvel universe, and started wrecking stuff. And it's possible Galactus, which I think would be really cool because Galactus, we've only seen him in live action in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, the second Fantastic Four movie, and he looked cool, but definitely didn't do anything at all. It would be cool to bring him in with Silver Surfer as his herald, and just because you don't beat Galactus, you can't beat Galactus. You just convince him that destroying everything isn't in his best interest. You're just like, listen, Galactus, do you really want to destroy Earth? Do you really want to blow up everything here? You know what you gonna get from that? Did, did we leave you alone? You leave us alone. Let's just do that. That's basically how you talk to Galactus down from killing all known life. And I think that'd be a really interesting character to bring in. Maybe after 25 movies, Galactus is a villain for most of them. They don't beat him. They just say, "Hey, Galactus, can we just chill out here for a second and not do this?" That'd be a nice little contrast to having the Avengers have to beat Thanos. I think ones like Annihilus, Galactus, Secret Invasion, all that kind of stuff is the most likely because we've been told quite regularly going forward that the MCU from Phase 4 onwards is going to be very more cosmic focused than the first phase. Like a lot of the movies in Phase 1 and Phase 2 and Phase 3, while we did have the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Thor movies that were very much based off of Earth, most of them were based on Earth and were very down to earth kind of. And I think that going forward, Feige and just all the directors want to make space just the main focus of the universe, which I'm definitely on board with. I think that Marvel utilizes all of their space stuff really well. I think that one thing that Marvel does much better than DC is using space. In DC, every time something is to do with space, like Darkseid, Apocalypse, Krypton, the Martians, all that kind of stuff, it always somehow leads back to Earth as the focal point. Whereas in Marvel, Earth is just another cog in the huge machine of the galactic cosmos, and I think that is so cool. So I would really love them to do stuff like this. It's also possible we'll get something like the Illuminati. In the comics, the Illuminati were basically, after the Infinity Stones almost destroyed life again, the 6 Infinity Stones, or the Infinity Gems as they're called in the comics, were divided out among 6 different people. Those 6 people was Tony Stark, Reed Richards, who is Mr. Fantastic, Charles Xavier, who is Professor X, Namor the Submariner, he's the Aquaman of Marvel, Black Bolt, who is the King of the Inhumans, very underrated character. So disappointed we aren't going to see him properly in the MCU probably ever now because of that damn show. And Stephen Strange, aka Doctor Strange. I think it'd be cool if we did see something a lot like this, where the Infinity Stones aren't the focus, maybe early Phase 4 or end of Endgame. We see the Infinity Stones divided among a bunch of these characters. Probably Stephen gets a time stone back. See, they're going to have to change this up. If they do it too early, they're going to have to change it up so that Fantastic Four and X-Men aren't involved. And probably because Tony, I don't think we'll be seeing him in much capacity, if at all, after Endgame. So I think it's possible they'll leave him out of the Illuminati as well. But you give one Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Thor, just a bunch of just 6 of the main characters that we know at the moment, and have them protect them and make the Infinity Stones hidden, make them not be a thing in the Marvel Universe for a long time. We'll do some other threats, maybe Secret Invasion, some do it Kang the Conqueror or Galactus, and then 20 movies down the line, boom, someone comes looking for the Infinity Stones, and they're pissed, they want them for some reason, and I think it'd be cool to do something like that, because the Infinity Gems in the comics, while the biggest event they're involved in was Infinity Gauntlet, well, there's also been Infinity War, there's been just Infinity. They've been involved in a lot of big things. This is what I'm trying to say. I don't think they should go away after Infinity War. They're such a big part of Marvel that I think they should always kind of be there in the background. While not always the focus, probably rarely ever the focus again for a long time, I think that we should always know they're there. I really hope they don't destroy them, because they're such a big part of Marvel that I just don't think that would be a good idea. We'll also, something to do with Adam Warlock could be the focus next phase, considering that he's coming in Guardians 3, and he's been teased since Guardians 1, and it's possible we're seeing a Thor 4 as well. I know Taika Waititi, I'm so sorry with names, I know he really wants to do something with Thor again, and after Ragnarok was such a big success, I think it's likely that Marvel will give him more to do with Thor. Hell, they wanted him so bad they offered him Guardians of the Galaxy 3, to which he turned down. Uh, which, if he did Guardians 3, I think it's likely Thor would have been in that. But I hope he does do another Thor stuff, and we could see a Thor 4, which would be the first fourth movie outside of an Avengers movie, which would be pretty cool. Also, with the TV shows happening, The Vision of Scarlet Witch, Bucky and Falcon, all that kind of stuff, it's going to be a very different universe going forth, and I'm here for it. I'm hyped. I feel like I'm not going to be as invested as I was with the original 22 movies, but I still can't wait to see where this goes. Anyway, what do you think is going to happen in the future of the MCU? Are you excited for it? Is there any of these storylines you particularly want to see? Is there any that you think is going to happen that I completely forgot about or I didn't even know about? But yeah, thank you very much for watching. And yeah, Avengers Endgame. It's going to be the end of this Avengers game. Bye.